So if we're talking about the LQ HD, and we talk about this as being our economy type blast bag, but the bigger picture is it complies to the same standards, it works just as well, it'll hold just as much load. But what it does do in being a flammable can is it does give us license to get the brew out quicker. We don't have to conform to the non-flammability standard, although we still do with the flame extension test. The beauty about our flammable range, and I'll say flammable because it's not extremely flammable, is it will still put out an extinguished gas torch. It will distinguish that. And that doesn't seem like consensus means in your head will say, how can something be flammable actually distinguish a naked flame or a candle? And the reality is our brew will do this. So for ignition sources around mine sites and storage and controls, this bag is still really, really good. And it's probably one of our widely used in the market today, especially in Australia. So we can adjust the speed specific to the flow rate coming out of the can. So we do it differently to our competitors. You know, we have a one activation with our, with our actuator. And the idea being is what we want to do is we want to reduce the flow rate. So the amount of gas coming out of the can at any given time. The best way to do that is through the valve. So we do different types of valves. And the beauty about our product being Australian made is we can customise locally. We're the only Australian manufacturer of blast bags in the industry at the moment. Everything is made offshore. What that does is it gives us an ability to customise here in Brisbane where we supply to local markets. We've got open licence to change these speeds in our LQ range to what you want specific to your site requirements. Okay, so shallow holes, you want a faster inflating gas bag, we can give you that. We've got open license to change these speeds in our LQ range to what you want specific to your site requirements. Deep holes, we can put a slower valve on. Okay, medium depth holes, we can go to a faster slow rate, and then shallow holes we can go as fast as you like. But then we have top hole bagging as well. If you put a bag in the top of a hole and you want it to inflate really quick so you can then go to the next production hole and top hole all those, you really want a fast activating bag. That'll increase your production rates. You know, rather than waiting for a bag to inflate and grip the hole to move on to the next hole in say 24 to 30 seconds, you've already done 2 or 3 holes because you got your bag gripping at 10 or 15 seconds. We can make it 25 seconds, 35 seconds, whatever your site controls require to give you the best production rates out in the pattern. So with the UN standard, there's 2 parts to the test. The first part is to be able to pass the flame extension test. And what that is you have a different actuator on here that sends a flow rate out to a lit torch here. Our product will get right to the front of that gas torch and you will actually spray it and it will put out that flame. This is a gas torch flame, not a candle, which is the requirement. Most aerosol, and I'll say aerosol because there's different types of bags out there, most extremely flammable blast bags in the industry will turn to a barbecue gas. That will not work on the flame extension test. That gas will not solubilize into a solution and actually extinguish the flame. And that's the separation in ours. So when we're talking about ignition sources or anything like that, this product still remains safe, even though it's earmarked flammable based on the standard and the code. So when we developed this brew for the LQ, and of course with our Duo variety, what we were looking at is trying to be able to have a bag that could withstand high and low temperatures, and we wanted the gap between the two to just get bigger and bigger. In essence, we've tested these bags up to 60 degrees. They inflate really quick because of the pressure rating. But then on the other hand, when you're putting or exposing a bag into very, very cold temperatures, either freezer or fridge, that maintains your pressure lower or it reduces your pressure in the can. So high heat, high pressure, low heat, very, very low pressure. But low pressure would normally mean that it doesn't inflate quick enough, it doesn't hold pressure as hard as it should. And that was the deviation between super hot temperatures and super cold temperatures. I think before we were there, now we're here with this new brew. Koolkap, from an environmental impact point of view, across all our bags, our GWP on our gas is only one. Okay, one over 100 years, 1.2 over 20 years. There are aerosol bags out in the market that have GWPs as high as 41, 44, which is 200% more than what ours is, and they're also greenhouse gases. So that was the important part of our patent, was to be able to have something sustainable. We've not been waving the sustainable flag for 2 or 3 years. We've been doing this since 1997. You know, our GWP on our product has always been environmental beneficial compared to all our competitors. Most offshore suppliers of blast bags do use greenhouse gases, HFCs. Not all, but most of them do. And that's the compared market that we're comparing with, not only in Australia, but from a global scale as well. From an environmental point of view, we've been on point for many years. This isn't something, again, that we've only just come up with because of the global environment and everyone's worried about it. We look at the environment in all the products that we develop, albeit Koolkap, albeit poly product. That's also always something in the back of our minds on how we could make a product better. We've innovated over the years, we've listened to the industry, we've improved our caps, we've improved our brew. And this is a big part of why we're here today. We're very confident in the brew that we've put forward here in both our LQ and Duo. And I think it's going to be beneficial for the market across the board, not only from a performance point of view, but from an environmental point of view.